warroomsports.com. Get that mobile app.
Basketball fans, what's going on? And welcome to a long-awaited edition of Court Vision, brought to you as usual by War Room Sports in conjunction with the Sports Kings. I'm one of your hosts for the roundtable today. I'm Dev, and I'm at the table with the homies. Andy from Sports Kings. What's up, Andy?
What's up, guys? It's going to be a weird year. No thunder, no heat.
Yeah, yo, good thing for the Golden State Warriors. We got Frank from Sports Kings.
I know you're like, finally, Court Vision spending time with me. Shout out to Matt Hoppe.
And we got Jimmy the Blueprint from War Room Sports.
Court Vision is back. It's going to be legend. Wait for it. Dairy.
Slow it down.
So, yeah, it has been a long time since, we've brought our special NBA analysis to you guys, but we are back for the playoffs, and we're going to do a first-round edition. We're not going to give you a full playoff preview at one time. I'm going to break this up, and we're going to just do first round. So before we get into each series, I want to ask you guys right off the bat, we'll just go around the round table. Is there any one series that you're really, really looking forward to?
I'll be very fast. The 4 or 5 matchups in each one. The Wizards in Toronto, as well as Memphis. Who the hell is Memphis played? I know it's a 4 or 5 matchup. Memphis and Portland. Because I looked at those 2 matchups last night, and I'm like, man, tough matchups. Like 4 or 5 is supposed to be the best matchup, but it definitely is this year.
They're living up to the hype. Frank, who you got?
For me, it's Houston and Dallas. You got the whole in-state rivalry, and there's a lot of intriguing matchups. You got Monte Ellis versus James Harden. You got all these kind of matchups. So I'm really interested how that plays out, and I'll give my prediction in a little bit. But I think it's going to surprise some people.
Andy,
so you basically know what you're going to pick now.
I like the same thing as Frank, the Dallas-Houston thing, because of the in-state rivalry. It's Houston versus Chandler Parsons at this point, too, is what it sounds like. So I'm interested in that one. And honestly, I kind of want to see the Golden State Pelicans one just because it's going to be a lot of young guys flying around, and that should be interesting for a few games.
You're right. I think the Golden State New Orleans series is just going to be interesting just because of the participants in it. As far as teams go, I think Memphis and Portland, for me, is the one that I'm going to look forward to the most. I mean, in the West, that might be by, regular casual basketball fan standards, that might be the most boring series of the West. But I think it's going to be a great one, and I picked it really because it was the most difficult series for me to pick. So I'm going to go with it like that. But like Jimmy, I am interested in that 4 or 5 matchup on the other side, especially since I live in the Washington, D.C. area. Washington and Toronto should be a good one as well. So let's jump right into it. Let's start with the Eastern Conference, the Leastern Conference, as I might add. And let's go with that 1-8 matchup, Hawks versus Nets. What do you guys see in this one?
I'll be brief, baby, brief. Hawks versus Nets.
No Tabo. Police.
I know that, and I think the Hawks will struggle moving forward in the playoffs, but just not this series. I got the Hawks winning this. I say 5 or 6 games, but I definitely got the Hawks winning the series.
Yeah, you already know what it is. It's BK all day.
Bias.
Bojan Bogdanovic is a name that people might learn to know. He's been playing very well. Thaddeus Young, they become such a better team with him rather than KG, and they're getting swept. Clearly, the only chance they have to win one game is if the Hawks go up 2-0 and Damari Carroll or one of those guys on the Hawks just says the Nets are trash, and they just come out in Game 3 and just give all they got and beat them by like 2 in the last second. But that's the only chance they have. I've seen all 4 Hawks-Nets games this season, and the Hawks just washed them. Just no problems.
This is show and prove time for me for the Atlanta Hawks. I want to believe in the Atlanta Hawks. I like the concept of team basketball. I'm just not all the way there with the belief system yet, so I'm going to give the Nets 2 games in this one.
The Hawks need more people.
How?
You guys are
crazy. I have no clue. But I'm going to give the Nets 2 games just because of that little nucleus of experience they have. Joe Johnson and my man who fell off the face of the planet, Deron Williams.
Hey, Frank, man.
Not enough to challenge the Hawks a little bit. Like Jimmy said, the loss of Cephalosha probably won't hurt them that much in this particular series, but as they move forward, and I do think they're going to move forward, that's probably going to rear its ugly head. But I'm going to say the Atlanta Hawks in 6 games.
Hey Frank, man, I see Darren Williams, and I feel like Samuel Jackson from like Jackie Brown when he was talking to Robert De Niro. He's like, "What happened to you, man? Like you used to be beautiful. Like what happened to Darren Williams, man? He
Yo,
like
you guys know how long? Jimmy knows how long I stuck with Darren Williams as the best point guard in the NBA. Like,
yeah, I called him the best before too.
We don't have enough time to go into the whole thing, but like if you want to make an argument for Darren Williams, I thought about this a lot, obviously, because he's the best player on my team supposedly. I honestly think Darren was born like 5 years too early. Like I feel like the NBA transition to this pace and space thing so quick, and Darren Williams' game is just not equipped for that at all. Like because he can't finish at the rim. He's not too good of a passer if it's not the pick and roll. So his skill set is, and plus
to make all that short. He's a product of Jerry Sloan's system, but that's all I gotta say.
Plus, he's about 25 pounds too heavy most of the season. But whatever.
It's the Whopper Juniors that's got him going. And I'm picking
Brooklyn food is on point.
It is. I'm going to pick Atlanta in a sweep as well. I'm going with Frank. I just think that when I look at the Nets, with all the things Frank said at the end of the season, kind of finishing stronger, I still feel like Atlanta's too good. And this team concept's gotten a little popular. We got 3 teams right now that play team basketball in the playoffs. Granted, the Celtics are going home early, but the Spurs and the Hawks. I mean, team basketball.
It sounds funny that we're talking about a team sport and we're shocked. There's 3 teams.
I was going to say shots fired at the other 13 teams.
How bad is the league?
But it says something compared to a couple years ago. Well, Memphis too.
Yeah, no, there's more than 3. I think there's more than 3. But you will know Bojan Bogdanović's name. He will have a 25-point game. I'm convinced.
Okay. All right, so let's go to that 2-7 matchup in the East. Andy just spoke of them. The Boston Celtics are going to face the Cleveland Cavaliers. I can basically start this one out. I mean, even though they did split the regular season, I believe, as I said to Jimmy when we spoke about this on the podcast, you never know who's going hard night after night as far as superstars are concerned because people take so many nights off, even when they're playing sometimes. So I don't look into that split as meaning anything. I got the Cavaliers in 4. I think they'll make quick work of the Boston Celtics. But shout out to the Celtics and their young coach for even being here.
I'm going to be fast. I'll say the Celtics in 4. To quote my brother B. Austin, maybe even 3.
The Cavaliers
in 3. But
Celtics, Jim.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. Cavaliers. Damn, what the hell is wrong with me?
Hey, this was a rivalry like 5 years ago.
Verbally bonding.
Yeah.
6 years ago, this was a rivalry.
Cavaliers in 4 games, or like B. Austin says, possibly 3 somehow. We don't know how, but maybe 3.
Celtics might just not show up for game 4.
Yeah, they might not even show up. It's a wrap. I think Cleveland, like, this is where, they take that next step or try to take that next step, and we'll see if they all play. Because, basically this past season, Kyrie takes games off, LeBron takes games off, and you really even see them on the court at the same time. They're so-called Big 3 anymore. So we'll see what happens, but Cleveland steamrolls through the Celtics.
I wouldn't be shocked to see the Celtics steal one, but I think Cleveland might want to send a message.
LeBron don't want to send a message.
This season is so crazy. LeBron. I wouldn't be shocked if LeBron took a night off in the playoffs. That wouldn't even shock me.
Yeah, but you don't say you want LeBron. I think the worst thing is to get LeBron motivated in the playoff series. I think they're gonna win a game. Actually, I think it'll be 5, but I have Cleveland in 5.
I also have the Cavs in 5. I think the Celtics will avoid the sweep only because I think Brad Stevens is just so much better of a coach than David Blatt is. I think one game he will outcoach him to the point where it will cost him the game. And I think
an Isaiah Thomas game.
Yeah, but LeBron coaches Cleveland, though. Is he a better coach than LeBron?
He is a better coach than LeBron, too. I think Kyrie will have one of those games where everybody's just looking at him like, dog, what are you doing? You've taken like 25 shots. It's the second quarter. I have no idea what's going on out here. And I think the Celtics will win that game.
He's going to turn and say, well, I've never been here before. I didn't know how I was supposed to do this.
He's like one of those guys, you take him on vacation, he's never been on vacation at all, and he's like looking at the hotel room like, yo, this is a nice hotel room. They're like, no, we're not even.
I agree with Dev, though. Dev made a point. I just want to bring back up that I think Cleveland is going to try and send a message, and they're going to use the Celtics to send that message.
Yeah, especially like because what Andy brought up, somebody from the Celtics brass asked for the LeBron and the Cavs. Like,
yeah, don't do that.
I mean, he's not MJ Jordan like on the revenge type of tip, but He's still the best player in the league. Like, don't ask for something you really don't want.
He's going to come out with the Fang mouth guard.
Yeah, he might even wear his headband. Go back to his killer days with the headband. He needs to. So let's go to the 3-6 matchup in the East, the Chicago Bulls versus the Milwaukee Bucks. What do you guys see from this one? Andy, what do you see?
I got this one in 5-2. I just think the Bucks, they do some nice things, but I can't look at that team and say, they're going to go in and beat Chicago, who's going to play physical defense. And they can score a little bit now. We've been waiting to see Chicago have some scoring firepower in the playoffs, and now they have it. No excuses, Chicago.
Right. Well, you always have the if Derrick Rose is going to be healthy or if he's not going to be healthy scenario. I have the Bulls in 5 in this one. The Bucks, it seems like ever since they made their trade, and I do not want to put everything on MCW, but since they made that trade, they seem like they've been going in a different direction than they were prior to making the trade. The Chicago Bulls, with them, we know that a lot of the times it's all about health. They can stay healthy. This series really shouldn't be much of a problem for them. Look for the Bucks down the line, but this is not the year. Once all that length they have learns to actually, put their stamp and dominate a game like they should on the defensive end, then we can look for the Bucks to do something, but it's not going to happen this year.
I got the Bulls in 6. I actually gave the Bucks 2 games. I'm very intrigued by this series specifically. I want to see Giannis Antetokounmpo. I actually pronounced his name correctly now. It took me a long time, but against Jimmy Butler, I think that's going to be a great matchup. I want to see how Giannis does. I'm only going to try and pronounce his name once. You see that? Giannis does against Jimmy Butler on defensively specifically. I want to see if he can shut Butler down. The biggest problem for the Bucks is going to be they can't defend Pau Gasol or Joakim Noah. They don't have those big bodies to defend, especially Pau Gasol. I think Pau Gasol is going to go like 20, 15.
Yeah, I'm not really going to say Joakim, but yeah, Pau, they can't guard.
Why are you trying to
hates Joakim Noah?
Like he can't be stopped. I don't know.
Yo, you have a great point, Frank. I definitely want to see how Giannis Ifnibun plays this series. I have the Bulls winning this in about 6 games, but I think Milwaukee's going in the right direction. Even after the MCW trade, they haven't been playing to the level they were playing earlier. But I still think overall, they're the Milwaukee Bucks, for Christ's sake. But they're going in the right direction. And after this next season, when they show promise, and then the following year when LeBron signs there, it's going to be, they're going to be one of the most competitive teams in the league. So. Shout out to the Bucks.
Last night, Jim. I think my man supercalifragilistically, he gonna ball out a little bit.
But yeah, I got the Bulls at 6 though.
Did everybody go on this one?
Yeah.
Everybody picked
All
the Bulls.
right.
I think we don't have any disagreements so far. This is boring, man. What are you guys doing, man?
Well, 4-5 matchup.
We gotta get to this matchup.
Yeah, we're in the East. We're
gonna disagree here. We'll disagree.
This might be the best matchup in the Eastern Conference first round. You got the Raptors and the Washington Wizards. And speaking of, teams that maybe went in an opposite direction after the All-Star break, maybe these are 2 teams that just didn't play as well after the break as they did going into the All-Star break. Hence the reason they're down to the 4th and 5th seeds when earlier in the season, they were a little higher up on the totem pole. The Wizards. The way they've played has basically disappointed me. I wasn't as high on the Wizards as everyone else was starting the season, but I didn't expect to see some of the things that I've seen down the stretch. I'm going to go with the Raptors in 7. I got a healthy Kyle Lowry back, and I think he's going to try to put his stamp on the series. But the point guard matchup is going to be pretty good, Lowry versus John Wall. So we'll see how that shakes out, but I'm going to go with the Raptors in 7.
I'm going to also go with the Raptors in 7. Initially, I had picked the Wizards in 7. Then Devin reminded me that the Raptors have home court. And I was like, man, they're not going to be able to go to, the OVO Center. I don't know what it's called, but that's what we call it. Drake's not going to let that happen. So I got the Raptors winning in 7.
Drake liked to interfere with the action.
We were supposed to disagree here. I also have the Raptors in 7. I think the backcourt is going to be the big matchup people look at, but I think it's going to be all about the front court. And I don't know if – I think the difference in this series, honestly, is going to be a guy maybe not a lot of people are looking out for, Patrick Patterson. I don't think that Nate can defend him at the three-point line just because he's not quick enough. And I think he will outplay Nene to the point where it will make a difference in the series, I think. I got the Raptors in 7.
And I have the Wizards in 7.
Yeah!
Yeah, we're go.
I figured I was going to get a little more support than that.
Game 7 on the road?
Well, this is my home now.
I got him in 7. I really don't truly believe in either one of these teams.
Me either. Yeah.
I thought the Wizards were going to do a lot better than they did. I kind of feel like Toronto played to about where I figured they would, but Washington I expected much more of. I think I picked Washington to go to the Eastern Conference Finals.
You did.
But yeah, I feel like John Wall's the best player in this series, and he has to be the best player in this series. So it's on him. And I don't know. I don't think the home court advantage matters that much in a Game 7, just because I don't truly believe in either one of these teams. So I think it's anybody's.
So that's why that's probably why Jimmy.
I think in Toronto it matters. I think Toronto has a good enough crowd. It won't matter against a young Wizards team that probably has never been in that situation before.
They're not that young.
And they're up in Canada by themselves. It's a them against the world mentality in that home gym. So
I don't believe in anything that comes from Canada.
Oh!
All right, well let's
comment.
Go over to shout out to Drake. We go over to the Western Conference. Let's start with that 1-8 matchup: the Warriors versus Fly Pelicans. And we spoke about this earlier, saying how intriguing the matchup is. I think it's a very intriguing matchup, even though I think the Warriors are going to win it in 5. I think it's going to be 5 very exciting games because Anthony Davis is going to do everything he can to keep his team in these games and try to steal a few. And, he has a nice little supporting cast. They're just young, and no one has any playoff experience. Not that that's, the end-all, be-all, but I think the Warriors are on a mission. I'm still not sure that I have them, going to or winning the finals, but in the first round, they're going to show and prove. I don't think they're going to lay an egg. So I got the Warriors.
I have the Warriors in 6 games. I'm giving the Pelicans 2 games just based on the fact that they have Anthony Davis. He's become that good of a player, arguably the MVP of the league. And I think he's going to have one of them Hakeem Olajuwon games where he has 20, 12, 11, 10, and 9. And they're going to win. Hakeem used to put up crazy lines every once in a while. Hakeem would have a line. You'd be like, hold up, he didn't really do that. That's what Hakeem used to do. People forget about how great Hakeem was.
Anyway, Hakeem really have 10 steals this game?
Hakeem used to have 11 steals some games. How you do that? Anyway, side note, Hakeem Olajuwon used to be in the top 5 in steals playing the center position when he played, and you guys could check that out. Hakeem was that good of a player. Mm-hmm. But I think Anthony Davis is going to have one of them Hakeem games, and then they're going to win another game. But for the most part, I think they're going to win in 6, but it's not going to be a close 6, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
I think it'll be an exciting 5 or 6.
Right. I have the Warriors in 5, and I have the same theory that Jimmy has. I think Anthony Davis is going to have 2 monster games, and they're going to lose one and they're going to win one. That's my theory there. And I think if Anthony Davis were to play 45 minutes a game, they would have much more of a chance because they're so much better of a team when he's on the floor, obviously. But I don't. Monty Williams is probably the most unqualified coach in the playoffs, and that's saying a lot because we have a lot of unqualified coaches in the playoffs currently. But he takes the cake, and he's just going to get thoroughly outcoached by somebody who was playing in the NBA 4 years ago, in Steve Kerr, but whatever.
And as soon as people watch this, they're going to be Googling Monty Williams, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah, he's atrocious. He is legitimately one of the worst coaches.
He doesn't do anything. He just stands there.
He doesn't. It's terrible.
And I have Golden State in 5 as well. I think, and like Devin said, the minute it came out of his mouth, I was thinking the same thing. It's going to be an exciting 5 games, just because of all the. You have some notable players on both teams that can play basketball. Even a guy like Tyreek Evans can give you a good game where you're like, what is he doing?
Yeah. Tyreek Evans will lose one of those games.
He will lose one of the games, but he
definitely will. He's the reason that they're going to lose.
He's a wild card. He's kind of like their Lance Stevenson.
Exactly.
He flags off the big fella sometimes. I'm like, what are you doing? Part of me feels like he's a little jealous.
Ricky is the layup king, though.
He is jealous. I think because of his rookie season, he played so well. Everybody thought he was going to be this next superstar guy.
That's one of Anthony Davis's biggest problems so far as a superstar is he doesn't have that give me the ball. No, you don't understand, Tyreek. I'm the star on this team. Give me the ball. Stop talking. He needs to get in somebody's face and just be like, yo, Tyreek, I'm the man.
Yo, Tyreek.
One or the other.
Somebody's dribbling, and he asks for the ball, and he doesn't get it right away. He should just call a timeout right now.
He's too nice right now. He's in the post please.
Give him a couple years. Years, he'll be yelling at people. Yeah. Kobe will mentor him.
Instead of saying "Give me the damn ball," he's just saying I would disagree. But all right, so let's go to that 2-7 matchup with the Rockets versus the Mavericks. I think this is a very intriguing matchup as well. You know, you got the Battle of Texas. Bruin, what do you guys see happening in this one? Is James Harden finally going to wake up from his playoff slumber?
I'm picking the Mavericks to win this series. Ooh. I don't want nobody else to steal my thunder, so I'm going to go first because I think Frank's going to try to do the same thing.
But the Pelicans
I'm taking the Mavericks in 6 games. I'm taking them to 6 games, believe it or not.
Ooh.
Mavericks in 6 games.
I'm gonna draft behind.
Chandler
Jimmy.
Parsons goes crazy.
I'm gonna draft behind Jimmy. Shout out to my NASCAR knowledge, but that's the only word I know in NASCAR is drafting behind somebody. Anyways,
you pulled a slingshot,
and you probably got that from the movie Days of Thunder.
Shake and bake.
I watched Ricky Bobby. I know enough about NASCAR. Anyways, I got the Mavericks in 7 as well. I think Rick Carlisle is going to just thoroughly. I think coaching is where the playoffs where coaching matters, and I think Rick Carlisle will win 2 games over Kevin McHale. I think he will make 2 in-game play decisions.
Walk out of the court.
Like he will draw up 2 plays that Kevin McHale is just not looking out for, and that will win them games. And I'm convinced of it. James Harden. The Rockets are so dependent on James Harden that they had a couple of injuries that I think people overlooked in the regular seasons that will affect them. Montehunis is a huge loss for them because they would try to give James Harden blows on offense by throwing the ball into Montehunis and have him basically run a play. You know, he would do a post move, get him a double move, get him a nice basket. With him not there, they have nobody else that can create their own shot on that team. There's nobody that can do it aside from James Harden. So now he's got to create his own shot. You better not tell
Corey Brewer that because he thinks he's allowed.
And
plus Corey Brewer is allowed to take 8 steps. So
yeah, but I have the Mavericks in 7 because they're a deeper team, they're a more experienced team, and they just have a better coach. And that's why I have the Mavericks.
I think somebody's going to win this series in 6. But Jimmy actually almost talked me out of my pick, but I'm going to stick with the Rockets in 6. I think Dwight Howard is going to offer some assistance in this particular series, but I wouldn't be shocked either way. I agree with what you guys are saying as well, but I'm going to go with the Rockets because Harden can't possibly be as bad in the playoffs after a season like this as he has been in the past. So I'm going to go.
Harden's going to have to defend Monte Ellis too. Don't forget.
He's not going to defend anybody, but.
But neither is Monte. So
it's just going to be a free run at the 2 guard.
They're going to have to put Chandler over there.
I don't want to pick chalk the entire first round, so this is my going out on a limb series.
Well, I'm going to go with. I'm going in 7 games too, and I'm going to take the Houston Hardens, the Houston MVPs, and.
Damn.
Yeah, that's all I got to say. You guys covered the rest.
All right. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the Clippers-Spurs series. I know when the Pelicans beat the Spurs, I know the Clippers was like, God damn. So, the Spurs have been playing great as of late until they dropped that game against the Pelicans that dropped them back to the 6th seed. I'm going to make this easy. Good night, Clippers. I'm going to go with the Spurs in 6. I think Chris Paul will have, another reason to get a pass for not doing anything in the playoffs, team-wise. So, Spurs in 6.
All right, I'm going to take
Spurs
go ahead, Andy.
As well. I just think that they've come around too well, and they're a bad matchup for the Clippers.
Listen, this is a series I didn't want to initially pick. And shout out to B. Austin, who's not here, sold us out. But with that being said, he pointed something out to me. He told me to take a look at the Clippers bench. And when I did that, it's atrocious. So for that reason, I'm rolling with the Spurs in 6 games because they have a deeper team. And right now, they're playing some of the best basketball they've played all season. So it's also one of those things where going into this playoffs, I mean, they're on a roll. They lost their last game or whatever. But other than that, I mean, they're playing well, man. Tim Duncan, player of the week.
It depends on how you look at it, because the Clippers boast the best bench player in the league, but then
that one guy though,
about all he has.
But Doc has been trying. He's got Big Baby. He went and got his son.
Big Baby
he's trying everything, but their bench is terrible.
The Clippers bench is literally like a high school team bench. Like they got the overweight guy that can ball in Glenn Davis. They got the super senior in Hito Turkoglu, and then they got the coach's son. Like it's just the prototypical high school bench.
And the coach's son is the worst one on the team, still getting minutes.
I have the Spurs in 6 as well. I know I'm not the first person to bring this up. I've seen many experts bring this up, but you got to watch out for Popovich is literally going to foul DeAndre Jordan 20 times a game. DeAndre Jordan will average 15 free throws.
And he's going to laugh on the sideline when he's doing it too.
And it's going to work. He did it in the regular season against them constantly, and it's just going to happen. And then they're going to have to take DeAndre off the floor, and now they have nobody to defend the paint because their backup is Spencer Hawes, and he ain't defending. If James Harden is like like the below the bar for defending, like Spencer, I don't even know what you call Spencer Harden. He's like the hell of defending. He's just way below the ground. I don't know. I don't even know. But
he wanted to keep growing as a kid. He wanted to stay a shooting guard height.
Yeah. He's a center. He's a guard in a center's body. But I have the Spurs for 6.
Because we know Popovich isn't afraid to muck a game up, so that's probably what he's going to end up doing. And we'll go to Andy for the last series first, just in case you got to bounce out of here. The 4-5 matchup, this was the best one of the playoffs for me. The Trailblazers versus the Grizzlies. What are your thoughts on this?
I've got this series in 6 games as well. I feel like it's going to be. I think it'll be an exciting 6 games because you have one team who wants to grind it out, who wants to punch you in the face, and then you have the other team who just wants to shoot threes. Though they do have a plethora of scores, but I'm taking Memphis in 6. I think the defense is going to be too much. Portland, to me, still doesn't remind me of a team that's going to be a great team in the playoffs, and I think Portland's great, or I think Memphis is a great team, so I'm taking Memphis.
These are 2 teams that I have a little bit of a soft spot for some reason, and I like to see these teams do well, probably because they're good teams and they don't get talked about like the other teams. So this is a matchup that I would have liked to see in the Western Conference Finals. Too bad they have to go at it in the first round. I like both of these teams a lot. I'm gonna go with the Grizzlies in 7 and a road victory, Game 7 in Portland. It's gonna be a very tough, hard-nosed series. The big guys are gonna play a big part in that. We all know that with Aldridge and Zebo and Gasol and cats like that. This is where we're going to see how much they're going to miss their shooting guard. We'll see.
I'll be very brief. I'm taking Memphis in 6 because they're gangsters. Just that simple.
I've gone back and forth on this series. I think this is the most intriguing series in a sense because I don't think it'll be the most entertaining. I don't think it'll be the most watchable, but I think it's intriguing in the sense where it's like very much the old school versus the new school because the Trailblazers are very much a new school team. They like to spread it out. They like to shoot. They got Aldridge, the prototypical stretch 4. And the Grizzlies are just old school defense, grit and grind. That's their motto. And I like Jimmy, I just can't pick against the Grizzlies. I don't know if it's just a bias, but I just think that in the playoffs, I feel like the Grizzlies style is built for the playoffs. And even in this new school NBA where everybody wants to score 120 a game, I think when it comes down to it, I think that their style still works in the playoffs, especially because I don't think referees have really adjusted to the quote-unquote new school in the playoffs. I still think they tighten up the game. They try to slow the game down. They call more fouls. They try to regulate things a little more. So for that reason, I do think the Grizzlies are going to win. I will take them in 6.
Grizz in 6, okay. So that's the first round for you people. We will be back at you. As a matter of fact, we'll be back at you next week to give you all of our picks for the NBA awards, and then we'll give you some second round coverage. That's a little more difficult to do because I think some of those series they just start when it's time, and we might not get a nice window to do that, but we'll try hard to be consistent with you guys throughout the playoffs. During the week, just make sure you guys check out sports-kings.com. Click on that Pass the Pill tab for all you basketball heads out there. You can also check out warroomsports.com and check out everything we do there, the blogs, the webcasts, and the podcast network. Like we always tell you, make sure you subscribe to the page, make sure you click the like button on this video, and make sure you leave your comments and your picks for round 1 right there in the comment section. So, as usual, don't accept mediocrity. Be steadfast in the war against ignorance. We'll see you chumps on top.
We out of here. Let's go Memphis, gangsters.
Jimmy was muted like a mug. That's why I kept going.
Was I? You know what I'm saying? So,
I saw the symbol. I was like, oh.
Yo! Let's go playoffs.
Kuwait is the war room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys, the first of